right, welcome to our new bi-weekly podcast on Cooldown that will cover all the esports kind of news and drama or whatever it may be as it pertains to the Ukatsu community. We're going to have our own high school students on board, our own high school coaches, whoever it is that is involved in our little community here at Ukatsu, and we're going to talk about everything related to esports. So with me for the first one today, as it is, of course, I am Ben Brooks, the co-founder of Ukatsu. With me, we have Jordan Taylor, the jungler from Rockbridge High School, Will Brown. He's actually a volunteer here at Ukatsu. He loves esports probably more than almost anyone I know. He's just a box of knowledge out there. And then, of course, Anousa El-Walid, the jungler from Battle High School. And I said the jungler for Rockbridge. But he's actually
I'm the whole ADC.
Okay, going back, though, to correct that, though, for reference, I will say, Season 1, you were a jungler, so that's where it comes from.
No, that was
that's where
like...
it comes from. You tried out for jungler.
Oh, that doesn't count as
I wouldn't say that's jungling.
No, I remember, I'm not crazy. It's all in here somewhere. You were a jungler.
It's
But,
in here
Yeah,
somewhere.
you got like two
my
Zach
apologies.
mains here.
Yeah.
Or at least he was in an Zach main?
Riley didn't consider me a Zach main.
Oh,
Yeah.
More like a team killer. You know, I killed our team, not their team.
Man, I'm gonna miss like his old new ult.
The bouncy
you know?
one?
old new.
Yeah, because like I like being able to pick up the entire team and just like plop down.
Wait,
'Cause
are they like? Are you getting rid of that?
they're going back to the bouncy ball.
Oh, let's
Yeah.
go. I
Yeah.
like that.
It's fun, but like I
Now, if
kind
you
of
could
like
pick
picking
people
up
up
the
and
whole
bounce
team.
them, that'd be like pretty cool.
That'd be pretty insane.
Kind of
yeah.
busted, but like, hey, that'd be
Yeah.
pretty.
Here,
neat.
here we are, though, of course. As you can tell, these guys, they are League of Legends players. They were part of our League of Legends high school season, both 1 and 2. And you guys are from different schools, and you guys participated in this whole esports league. Really, to start off this podcast, I can already tell it's already great. And I love that throughout this entire endeavor, we got kids from so many different schools that you guys probably wouldn't have met each other before.
Yeah.
All of this, like if this
Yeah.
never happened, that's really cool. But for this specific episode 1, the pilot, all of it together, very happy to have you guys on board because this is all about you guys. We want to hear about your guys' experiences, your guys' opinions, and everything because, honestly, this is a space and a platform that we think people need to hear. We hear a lot about the college scene, the professional scene, and you see other organizations, they talk about high schoolers, and they have pictures and everything like that, but you know that's not a high schooler. In that advertisement, that's a model. That man's 24 years old. That's not a high schooler.
And you don't hear the voice of the high schoolers either. Like I think that's important too. You don't hear what the high schoolers actually think, unedited. Just what's your opinion on this subject?
We're not gonna edit
So-
this, promise. Well, maybe.
No promise.
See how it goes.
Might need to.
Yeah, but first off, to start this off, we talk about it a lot, but maybe people don't know what esports is. We say it in all of our other shows when we're starting a game. Esports is the competitive sector of video gaming. But what does that actually mean? And I think that's a question I want to ask all of you three who come from different backgrounds. What does esports mean to you? We'll start over here across from me. Anousa, you participated in extracurriculars outside of esports. You used to be actually in marching band, correct?
Yeah, I was in the CPS indoor drumline, and I was also in battles, just normal drumline, and I pulled a lot of great experiences from that. And honestly, in my opinion, it's all these activities and all these sports are kind of trying to accomplish the same thing. It's just kind of like a different platform, So I'd say esports really is kind of like the same as football as it is with wrestling. It's just there's a few like key things that are different, It's like what activity are you doing with your team? What kind of community are you bonding with? And there's still all the same like leadership roles, and there's still all the same kind of things that you get to do just being a part of it, and it's been pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And going over now to Will, obviously a little bit older than the two kids next to us.
Actually, the oldest person sitting here.
Yeah, he's old. He's not.
I'm old. Oh no.
Hey, he's about to be a father too. You're about to be
Yeah.
a dad, so
Oh,
that's
wow.
an entirely
Yeah.
different ball game.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Nice.
not too long now. So.
That's pretty exciting. But for you, I know personally speaking, like we would have loved to have played in high school esports.
Yeah,
and all things.
yeah,
that is
completely
your
agree.
space. You
Yeah.
love everything as it comes, and no matter what title out there. What does esports to you though?
So the first time I remember playing anything that was kind of esports related was Halo. When it came out and I played it, and then I don't know, maybe a year later I heard about MLG, which was their premier thing was Halo esports. And I remember watching those on like USA Network, just all these different things, and I thought that would be so cool to be able to play and do that. It was interesting. But I come from a family that loves sports, all types of sports, football, baseball, hockey, all of it. It never really connected with me, all of the different sports. I played them, but none of them were the thing for me. And then as I got older, got a PC, played CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch recently, getting into League of Legends, which I know it's kind of backwards. Probably should have gotten to that first.
Yeah.
Well, you've listed like the top 5.
Right, yeah.
Right.
But, started getting into those, and, to me, the biggest thing that esports is it's the next generation of sports. Our parents and their parents grew up on football and basketball and baseball, and we're growing up in a technological age where we play sports differently, we play competitively differently, so I wish that it could have been something I could have done in high school, and being here at Ukatsu, being able to provide that is a dream come true. Love it.
I think you said it completely right. It's like the new sport, right? That's the whole buzzword, esports, and it's kind of confusing, right? I'm sure I don't know if your parents ever came to a game. We know some parents did come to games, and they're kind of like, I don't know what's going on.
Hard
but at the same time, I know when my mom, maybe my grandmother, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a sibling, like my sister, who came to like my football game, and she's the same way. I have no clue what's going on. Is that my child? You can't even see, right? It's the same thing. Like, it's another way to put yourself out there, and it doesn't matter. Like, our parents don't know. Mom doesn't know what football is, and it's been around for how many years? What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys on like the whole parent part of esports as well. Like when I was sitting in the car, my dad was driving me to a match. He was sitting there. He was like, "What are you doing again?" I was like, "It's esports." And then his friend next to him was like, "Oh yeah, I heard about that. That's like you get like a lot of money off of that and stuff, So I was just thinking like esports. It's a very special kind of thing because it's gaming. And unlike football and like basketball, those are sort of sports that like you have to be physically good at as well. I think esports is like more of like a mental sport. If you can mentally get the curve of the game, you can definitely like elevate your skills and stuff like that. Now you do need a little bit of physical work, but it's not as much. Just like if you can right click, which I have a difficulty with, like if you can at least
he said it himself.
Yeah, like if you can at least just try to get your hands and like your mindset around the fundamentals of the game that you're playing, I think that you could be like really competitive and you could get some cash off of it. You could get some fame. I think beyond like the cash and fame, I think the big thing that you take away from it is also, I think you have to be more of a team. Right.
And communication is way bigger in esports than I think it is in almost any other sport out there. Because you are constantly talking in any competitive esport at a higher level of play. And, on football, they talk about stuff in huddles, and then they make calls right before a play starts. But once the ball is in the air, you just kind of stops. You might make a little bit, but it's just go time,
right?
And it's individuals.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. I know, like Joe and I, when we started Ukatsu, specifically the esports portion, a lot of it we drew from. Don't want to get too much into why we started Ukatsu. That's not what this is about. But at the same time, we can't forget that Joe and I came from a sports background. That was my life personally when I participated in high school. It was all about track and football. I would have loved to have done esports. That would have been my life.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, I know, I really wanted it. But so that's why I stopped doing track. But at the same time, those values that you get from being on a team, from working with other people, learning how to be coachable, those are all elements that are very important. And I think esports provides a space and infrastructure for kids that might not have had that, might not be interested in doing those extracurriculars, might have no interest. And as you said, Jordan, the cool part about esports too is there's no physical limitations, right? Anyone, no matter what gender you are, no matter how you were born. We see people who are even born paraplegic. They only have the ability to use one of their limbs or less, and they still find a way to play games. And that's really, really cool. Kind of highlight, of course, Misty Stumpy from Columbia College. If you guys didn't know, he's a cripple in some ways. He really has only one appendage on one hand, right? And he made the Challenger, top 200 players in North America, got a scholarship to go to a team. Anything's possible, and it's cool that there's a platform for gaming, of all things, because it's just one more space for people to express themselves. And I think at the high school level that you guys are at, it's still brand new. There are a bunch of other people that are trying to figure out what it's all about, whether it's just a space to compete or whether it's more, whether it's like what you guys do in your clubs, whether it's being a club president and learning how to fundraise as a group of kids who only played video games for their lives.
Yeah.
Those are all things and obstacles and challenges that you guys have come to face, and those are the stories we want to hear. The next thing, though, that I want to ask you guys from here is what actually got you into esports. How'd you guys get here? What's your experiences, and what made you decide to try out for your team?
Well, for me, I really didn't want to, honestly. Like, I was...
Wow.
Coming out with it.
Being completely honest here.
I didn't. I had no interest in it at all. Like, at the time, I had like actually just stopped playing League. It was like a game that I hadn't opened up in probably months. And then Cameron kept on bugging me like, "Hey, come on, we need some people. Battle needs a team, and we're like one person away." And he really wanted me to be a part of it, so I started like setting aside the time, and then I started like dividing up my time, made it like half and half between like that and drumline, which is something I was really passionate about. I really enjoyed that, and I still do. But then it got to a point where I am now that I kind of put almost all of my free time into it. And after I quit band, I needed kind of just like a new thing to do. So I guess in my own way, I kind of took over at Battle.
Yeah, you gotta put that energy somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely like being able to put like some actual hard work, and it's pretty surprising. Well, it's not that surprising, but it's pretty insane how much, how demanding this activity can be. And then there's been so many matches where like a new patch came out. Like I remember, I think like finals for last year. That's when the scuttle changes came out, and I was how am I supposed to path now? Where do I go? What do I do?
Wow. Yeah. Unfortunately for us, we can't go back and play on a previous patch for a big game. We just got to deal with it. And for all of our Fortnite tournaments, we have to update the day of the tournament sometimes.
Right.
It was so crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's just because of like little things like that, kind of demand way more energy than you would expect.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. Like you not getting esports because you're interested in gaming at all, but just being asked to by a friend and realizing that's an outlet for you to put your energy to. That's a very interesting
honestly,
perspective.
at this point, if me and Cameron got like an offer to go play at the same university, I would totally be down. Just because like starting to play the game together in middle school and then being on a high school esports team, it really like opens up a path for so many better options, for me at least.
Yeah, that's one more thing. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not playing on a team.
But he's looking. Not to say he's not
model
looking.
high school.
Not to say I'm not looking. And if you're interested in having a coach, I am definitely interested in doing that. But I got into Ukatsu because my best friend's wife said, "Hey, these guys are looking for volunteers and helpers. You want to go check them out?" And I just walked in here, talked to Joe, and here I am. I don't know how many months later, almost a year now. It's getting pretty close. It was late summer when I walked in the first time. It was right before. It was like maybe a month before Overwatch started, so it's getting pretty close to a year. But I think the thing that really got me into esports was Rainbow Six Siege and playing with all of my friends. Like, 4 or 5 of us would jump on Rainbow Six Siege for hours at a time, and then it was always way more fun if we could get all 10 of us, and make 2 teams, and we would just go back to back forever. So that's why I like esports, how I got into it.
Yeah,
Nice.
makes sense.
Yeah. I think
but not least.
the first thing I played when I was like a kid, like I remember it so much. It was like the first competitive experience I ever had with video gaming, and that was like Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on.
And
you-
that shows his age
yeah,
a little bit
right.
there. Brawl was
So,
his
like,
first Smash.
It was not the greatest experience. I slipped a lot, but that's beside the point. Like Smash was a big thing that got me into esports. It sort of drove that competitive vibe in me, and that carried on until I met like you guys at the school in sophomore year for the esports stuff, and that sort of just like kicked on a switch in my head. I was like, oh crap, we got a club dedicated to esports. We're gonna have matches against other schools, which was another big thing that like made me get up. and I hadn't even played League of Legends that much. I was like level 5. Last time I played was on my dad's like MacBook laptop at like 30 frames playing Blitzcrank. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was in mid lane. Like I didn't know. I was just throwing hooks everywhere.
Yeah.
And like after that whole meeting and everything, and like seeing you guys out with the whole table and the advanced computers and all that, I decided to get up and start playing more and more. And that's sort of what drove like the biggest push of esports for me. But yeah, definitely Smash was the biggest thing that got me into esports.
Mm-hmm. I guess a follow-up question was, you guys all found different ways to get into it, and they're all very unique. But I know personally, and this is my personal belief, maybe you can disagree, I think there's a lot of other people at all of your schools that would probably go out for a team, that enjoy esports, enjoy playing. You guys each found your own motivators to try out, whether it's having a real passion for it and seeing that opportunity, tabling and all that, or having a friend of yours, a good friend, ask you to try out, begging you to try out.
So many times.
What does it take? What does it take maybe to get some of those other kids, or if you were on the fence, what's something that can convince you to join a team? What makes it worth it, I guess?
I mean, my favorite takeaway from just about anything that you can do is just like building relationships. You meet a ton of different people, you get to know them, and you get to know kind of like the way that they think, and it kind of exposes you to a ton of different just types of people, and getting to know how to work around them, I think, really prepares you for the future.
Yeah, you're not gonna like. Sorry if you didn't know. You're not gonna like everyone you run into.
Yeah.
You're moving
Yeah.
on. You're gonna be an
Right.
adult soon. Sorry.
Right.
You're about to find out.
Yeah.
But maybe you'll meet like an annoying coworker that
I already have.
the exact same, that is like the exact same as somebody that you've dealt with in the past. I think it'd be somewhat useful. But yeah, we definitely do have a lot of people who seem like vaguely interested in esports. Like, I have given out my Discord and written down like the link to the server so many times, and just like giving them my email, like, hey, if you want to, just like reach out and we'll get you into it. So I think having more like fun activities too would probably make a difference. I'm hoping that maybe like next year we can start having like movie nights in the PAC.
That's an
Because
option.
that'd be pretty spicy. I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I
And,
know. Maybe we can spoil it here. Maybe we can't. I don't know.
don't
Next
know.
year we want to help more with fundraising.
Yeah.
And some of that will be like actual tournaments, like a Smash Brothers tournament, like a Madden tournament. So you guys have all these unique ways of fundraising, like car washing and stuff. I don't know why the esports team would do that, but why don't you run like a Madden tournament for the entire school? They want it, right? But you
Yeah.
can't obviously do a Madden league,
Right.
and so we want to help do that, whether it's helping facilitate that. So we provide the equipment, we make it look great, and then you guys fundraise those funds for your teams. That's gonna be a good look for next year, and we can't wait. But knowing, like, in high school, I remember being a freshman, and that was scary.
Yeah.
What do I do? I don't want to do anything, but I want to do everything.
Right.
I don't want
Yeah.
Don't wanna
anyone
embarrass
judge me
myself,
for
but I
anything
wanna
that
get
I
out
do.
there.
Yeah.
I remember one time. This is a kind of sidetracking, but it's the same thing. You're gonna go to college soon. Maybe you won't. Maybe you will. Either way, you'll come to experiences. I remember going out to. I was seeing something when I was a freshman at college, and it was like an advertisement for, it was like Humans versus Zombies, the whole Nerf gun wars on
Oh,
campus. And I was like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
remember
cool.
those.
And I was in like a friend group. It was actually my fraternity at the time, and said, hey, this sounds cool. Does anyone else do this? And one of the guys in the group, like, he was a senior at the time, he was older, and he says, no, that stuff is like, that's stupid. That's very lame.
Right.
He said
yeah.
something else, but along
Right.
those lines. And like at the time when I was a freshman, I was like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. I guess I won't do
Yeah,
it. Like, I felt
yeah.
kind of bad about it, although there's no reason for me to feel bad. And like, I feel like that's something that is like
Yeah, the
surrounded
peer
by
pressure.
esports, but because
Yeah.
like at the same time, like you hear later on, like that stuff actually is kind of cool, and like
It's-
people
yeah.
actually do it, and it's, I don't know what it is.
It's
And-
it's a social norm.
Mhm.
It's where if you play video games, you're not cool or whatever. That was how it was for me, at least when I was growing up. Is
Yeah.
video games weren't cool. If you played video games, you were kind of a nerd or whatever. But
I think that's like farther from the truth now than ever.
Right,
Again, video
exactly.
games is accessible to anyone. But
Right.
You can't have more people who are maybe nerdier. You're right. They like
right, yeah.
cool things like D&D, or they like Star Wars and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Rock
But-
collections.
Yeah. is that your definition of nerdy?
I think
Not rock
that's
collections?
kind of nerdy.
I
All
mean,
right,
it
I'm
fits
sorry,
the
yeah, I'm
stereotype.
just-
rock
yeah,
collection.
hey, I'm just
Jordan's
saying.
Rock
calling you
collection.
out.
All right.
No heat. I'm just saying.
No heat. No heat. Okay. Okay.
I don't know, but if anything, just so esports, it's all about being inclusive, right?
Yeah.
Like anyone can
Yeah.
do it. So I don't know. I wish we could get those people who are on the fence.
Yeah,
I
I
know
feel
I'd be
like
on the fence if I
that
was in high
stigma is
school.
kind of there. I
Mhm.
kind of felt it when I first
Mhm.
was like, I don't want to join, but he really wants me to, just because I had no interest in it, you know? Like, I did play games, but I didn't think I was really good at all. And, you know, I'm not. I'm just, like, silver trash. But
Oh,
we're going to work
I
on
feel
that.
that.
I'm going to work on that one.
Competitive is different than playing
Yeah.
in a team on a league.
Yeah,
though.
you guys should realize that by
Completely
now too.
different.
Like your ranks, your
Yeah.
solo ranks are way different now
Oh, yeah.
compared to what
Yeah.
you guys played in the league. But now, what about you, Jordan? Do you same kind of story?
I mean, I came from Fayette originally, like that sophomore year. Like before that, I had came from Fayette, and in my freshman year there, I hadn't really had anyone around. Like it was a very small school, so not that much like diversity in terms of like video gaming and stuff like that. I only know like 3 people that played games, and there wasn't really a competitive type of setup there for gaming. But then I came down like the Rockbridge. It was sophomore year, and I was still a little bit of afraid to talk about gaming. But then like I was walking down the hall and I saw these guys playing like Melee on a TV in the middle of the lunchroom. You know, it's sort of crazy.
Love it.
That doesn't
like,
happen in
Yeah,
every
right.
school,
Like that
but-
doesn't.
Right, it's not every
And like
school,
the
but-
school I had was like really strict. So to jump back to like to the main part of it, I think community is a big part in what makes esports enticing. Like just like what Anousa said, like I don't think I would have ever gotten into high school esports or in a league or in a club or in general just like relatively competitive more in video games if I hadn't like seen the group of people wanting to sign up and do competitive games. So community, I feel, does play a huge part in that.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and it's great. I love being able to hear like your guys' different perspectives, and you guys come from very different backgrounds, which is just
Yeah.
it's so cool. I mean, Columbia Public School is not the largest school district in Missouri, but it's pretty unique and diverse, and it's pretty exciting to see this. And I can't wait to do more of these, to hear more of your opinions and perspectives, especially as we move forward. And I know League of Legends just wrapped up. I want to make sure to hear from as many people as possible what their experiences were like and get ready for Overwatch. But before we leave this specific episode, our first one, I want to close it with, what do you want your experiences in the future to look like in esports? If you could do anything, right, where do you want to end up? Whether it's joining a college team, whether it's being a broadcaster, a caster, what do you want to do?
Well, mainly like next year, I would definitely want to leave some like long-standing kind of differences, just something that, you know, I did at Battle eSports that's gonna stick there.
We award the Anousa El-Walid.
Actually, at our
Award.
banquet, we
Skrumpy
got
It's like the Heisman of esports right there.
we did the esports Spartan Award. I didn't know about that one.
That's cool.
I was thinking we could do like a coach's award, but they surprised me with it. You know,
That's cool, right? That's the culture that your individual teams
Yes.
can do every single year. You can do
Yeah.
awards and banquets. And
yeah, we had a chocolate fountain, we had a projector, and we put Smash on that and blew it up real big on the wall. And then it was some good times. I mean, it was not close to what I wanted exactly, but it was definitely. I'm proud of it.
yeah,
a
you
little
got
bit.
one more year though, right?
Yeah,
Unlike
yeah,
this
I've
guy
got
over
one more
here.
year. We're gonna make it real good.
Okay,
Maybe we can get like
No heat.
kind of nice stuff. But, yeah, like after that, maybe if there's like a university, a nice like esports room would be pretty fun. I would enjoy that.
Ooh, I like that.
Lots of
That's cool.
distractions.
For Will, you're not a student, but
No,
I think if
not a
anything, you
student.
can show these kids, these kiddos, these young
Youngsters.
like what is the future,
Young
right?
whippersnappers.
Like because esports isn't everything. You can't be a competitor forever.
Right,
Where would
exactly.
you wanna
Yeah.
be?
So I think I've missed my mark a little bit to become a competitor.
Ellie.
Hello,
Hello
Ellie.
there.
Ukatsu, little mascot here, Ellie.
She's gonna make it very hard to Photoshop the image back on that TV. Just because Samon's computer decided to restart.
We'll
ours.
probably cut that part out. Anyway, so yeah, for I think I've missed my mark to be a competitor at any kind of professional level or collegiate level. Not saying that I'm not young enough. I mean, there's older players. I just have missed the mark for my playing ability. I haven't put in the time that I needed to
You're pretty good though
before
still,
this.
you know?
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good. I just I'm not good enough. That's my own competitiveness coming back on me. But it's not necessarily a competitor that's what I'm interested in doing. I'm interested in being a coach or a facilitator in some way, a commissioner or some other role behind the scenes, broadcasting, color commentating, things along those lines that all are required for esports on any level, high school, collegiate, professional, semi-professional to work. There's lots and lots of things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize happen. I mean, we've had, I don't know how many meetings and talks, text messages back and forth figuring out how tournaments are going to work and how sessions and how our league is going to be what it's going to look like. So lots of work goes in behind it, and there's lots of things that are required, Photoshop and all these different skills. So there's lots to do, and if you're interested in esports and you don't really want to be a competitor, kind of like myself, there's lots of opportunities for sure.
Yeah, because those headshots, they don't get cut out themselves. There's a lot of you, and sometimes you're like, the lighting was bad, or I want to wear a different outfit, or you didn't take a picture for some reason.
Yeah.
You didn't show up to picture day.
One of my favorite memories is, and this has happened twice, is Ben last minute trying to get everything photoshopped to work, all of the overlays for the stream, everything. Like, we've got 2 minutes to go on, and he's just frantically clicking.
I remember first season 1 when it was just me and Joe. When because casting is hard enough, but when you're casting, you're spectating and you're controlling the stream at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
too much.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a lot to do.
We've got it down to almost a science now between the multiple volunteers, but
And when we get our new space, it's going to look a lot prettier.
oh
too.
yeah, can't wait.
New
Can't
space?
wait
New
for that.
space.
You guys didn't know that? Maybe.
Oh, well, we
yeah.
scrolled down
Right.
too.
I'm botting out. What was the question?
I mean, you're graduated, right? You
Right.
don't get another year to compete at high school.
Right.
What is the next step for you? What do you want to do? in
Yeah, I've
esports?
given that a lot of thought, especially like in the last couple of days. And I've considered it. Like, I want to do a lot of competition stuff. I would definitely not mind doing a lot of hookup and setup for matches. Overlays, stuff like that. Even being like a guy that like hypes it up with videos, because I do a little bit of YouTube. I'm sort of on
Can plug
a
it
lot
in
of
here.
platforms.
We'll get your
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media.
We'll get- yeah, yeah.
Let's get it.
But
Right across
I
the table.
definitely want to do a lot of competition. Smash, that's like my hot spot for gaming right now. I want to do like join a team like Liquid or something like that.
My
If
God,
I could
Liquid's
get
hot.
there,
Wow.
you know,
Literally just-
like hey,
Liquid, man.
like if I could get on Liquid, I would love
Settle.
going out.
Never settle.
Yeah, like traveling with like friends, maybe like traveling and doing battles, because like the more you travel, the more you play against different kinds of people, the more you improve. And I
Yep.
think
Yep.
I'm looking to do more improvement in social scenes and like just against other people. Most of the time when I practice, like I come in like a small area of friends, or I go online, which is laggy, so I wouldn't consider it practice. But I just like to branch out and go around and compete and play for a team. That'd be neat.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different avenues to do that. You can start practicing now, right? I mean, we teach, we have one-on-ones before this. Kids as young as 8 who are starting their own YouTube channels that have 100, 400 plus subscribers, 1,000 plus subscribers already at that age. You can start now. That's the coolest part. But we probably got to wrap this up for at least episode 1. I want to thank all you guys for coming on. We have a lot more things planned. We want to talk about like what is your coaching experiences like? Like, what do you look for in a coach? What do you look for in good teammates? And just a lot of different things that are related to probably everything you've thought about throughout the season, things you could change, things you think maybe you could do better, things that you enjoyed. A lot of different focus topics, hopefully. And hopefully we'll see you guys back on. Maybe? Looking at them trying to gauge the room here, and they're like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Heck
It might
yeah.
be in my face here. I don't know
Right.
how I feel personally. Anyway, thank you guys though for tuning in. This is going to be episode 1 of our first on Cooldown podcast. Maybe it's going to be bi-weekly. It probably won't release quite right away, but we're going to have a bunch more planned. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.